I know, it's a bizarre pairing. What does sushi and guitar have in common? Stick with me. This video is sponsored by Nebula. I've been thinking a lot recently about practicing, or more accurately, not practicing.
I'm getting distracted.
I am never happier than when I'm playing my guitar, and I'm always writing songs, whether it's sat down with the instrument in my hands or reviewing voice notes on my phone. I have 2 shows coming up in a few months, which I'm really excited about, but I'm very aware I'm not making enough time to practice my songs all the way through in a performance manner. I have always found that I leap at the opportunity to sit down and write a new song, but will do almost anything to avoid just practicing in general. Some of you might have seen my short the other day of me playing the piano. Now, I started playing piano from an early age and played and studied consistently for about 10 years, but once I got to university, I had to make a choice between the piano and viola. So I didn't stick with it, and I'm now way out of practice. I'm now also out of practice on the viola too, after focusing on the guitar. But anyway, now I'm spending time in the studio. I have access to a grand piano and have been really enjoying playing around with it again. But the fact is, I used to be able to play solfeggietto at a really young age, and it can get disheartening when I think about how much I could have progressed if I'd just stuck with it. Recording, whether it's going well or not, can be all-consuming. And I've also been doing a lot of editing, a lot of logistics and admin, and practice has in general felt like the easy thing to drop in favour of more pressing tasks. It's easy to hide away from your instrument, convince yourself that you're too busy, because that temporarily alleviates the negative feeling of not playing. But in reality, it's only going to make it harder to pick it up again. And once that feeling of guilt sets in, it can lead to something of a spiral. There's also the brutal reality that practice can be boring and it takes up a big chunk of your life. Malcolm Gladwell popularised the idea of 10,000 hours of practice to master a skill in his book Outliers. It's a catchy term, but it's not exactly true because not all 10,000 hours are spent equally. Going through the motions is not enough to become great. James Clear, author of the excellent book Atomic Habits, wrote a blog post titled Lessons on Success and Deliberate Practice from Mozart, Picasso and Kobe Bryant. Now, there is a link in the description. It's about the difference between practice and deliberate practice, or practicing with purpose. He quotes John Hayes, a cognitive psychology professor at Carnegie Mellon University, who studied the great composers, seeking the answer to a question: how long after one becomes interested in music is it that one becomes world class? He discovered that none of the composers he studied, even geniuses like Mozart, produced anything of note before they had studied for 10 years, a period he refers to as 10 years of silence. 10 years deliberate practice can feel like a lifetime, especially when you're starting out. I watched a film the other day on the recommendation of my brother. Jiro Dreams of Sushi, which is probably one of the best documentaries I've seen that examines the creative process and the drive to perfection. Jiro Dreams of Sushi is a 2011 documentary film directed by David Gelb. Jiro Ono is a sushi chef in Tokyo, owner of the tiny Sukiyabashi Jiro restaurant, and widely regarded as one of the greatest sushi chefs of all time. His restaurant was awarded the coveted 3 Michelin star rating. Stars are awarded on quality, originality, and consistency. 3 stars means it's, according to the guide, worth a special journey to visit. They mean journey from another country. It's that good. In the film, Jiro talks about the pursuit of perfection being his life's work, which in his case is making the best possible sushi he can. But the philosophies of the film can also equally be applied to any creative pursuit. It's full of amazing quotes and nuggets of wisdom from a man who's reached the very highest level, showing up each day, practicing, never stagnating, but always tweaking and learning new things. Once you decide upon your occupation, you must immerse yourself in your work. You have to fall in love with your work. You must dedicate your life to mastering your skill. That's the key to being regarded honourably. Apprenticeships at Jiro's restaurant last 10 years, assuming they work 8 hours a day for 6 days a week. That's 2,496 hours a year, 24,960 hours in 10 years, over double the 10,000-hour rule. And that's just the apprenticeship. The real work begins after. One apprentice says there is much you can't learn from words. I have to keep practicing. Asked what his secret is, Jiro says, I do the same thing over and over, improving bit by bit. There is always a yearning to achieve more. I'll continue to climb, trying to reach the top, but no one knows where the top is. Even at my age, after decades of work, I don't think I have achieved perfection, but I feel ecstatic all day. I love making sushi. That's the spirit of the Shokunin. Shokunin is a Japanese word that roughly translates as artisan or craftsman. That translation doesn't quite do it justice because there is also a social element to this perfection, to be the very best you can be so that others can enjoy it. The way of the Shokunin is to repeat the same thing every day. It's not just about technical skill. They practice with purpose because they have a social responsibility to others who want to enjoy the fruits of their labour. They aren't trying to be special or famous or rich. They just want to bring happiness to others through the good quality of their work. And their work is possible because of the labour of others long gone who spent the hours developing the tools to make it possible to plane, cut or sand something to perfection. So when you practice your instrument, you're not only playing for yourself, but for the many people who came before you, who made that instrument possible in the first place. So I'm going to try and apply that philosophy to my practice. Every day, a little improvement, a little closer to that next step forward, not with an end destination in mind, but for the pleasure of the journey, to approach my practice each day with absolute love for what I'm doing, to even love the repetition and fall in love with the boredom of practice and build up a consistency that I know I can maintain. One other point to make, Jiro says, in order to make delicious food, you must eat delicious food. One must develop a palate capable of discerning good and bad. And that most certainly applies to us musicians too. Be voracious in your appetite for new music. Get friends' recommendations whenever you can, and always be willing to try new things. Why don't you listen to something new tonight? Treat yourself to something delicious. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please click that button. You can also sign up to my very infrequent newsletter. Check out the link in the description. And I want to take a moment to talk to you about Nebula, which is my creator-owned streaming service. The most important thing to know is that when you sign up to Nebula, you are directly supporting me. I've got all my videos there, ad-free, plus long-form videos that wouldn't work here on YouTube. Exclusive behind-the-scenes content, studio diaries, interviews, and more, including my full-length documentary, The Making of Songbook. I've created exclusive visual albums, tutorials, and even included some personal projects like my home renovation progress video. Oh, and there is the 2-hour version of my custom guitar build too. Plenty of other creators like Adam Neely, Charles Cornell, and Amy Nolte are also on Nebula, sharing their own exclusive content. There are amazing new videos every single day. A Nebula subscription starts at $5 a month or $50 a year, but with my link in the description, you get a 40% discount. So with as little as $3 a month, you'll help me and my fellow creators keep doing what we do best, whilst finding your favourite place to watch smart and thoughtful videos. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video, and I'll be seeing you very, very soon.